Welcome to Emotions and Eating with Nicola-beer. Nicola controlled her feelings using food for 25 years, so she knows how draining it is to be constantly thinking about or acting out with food. Thankfully, having made an amazing breakthrough in her recovery, her mission became about helping others escape the unsatisfying cycle of frustration and self-medication with food. Nicola is determined to help you find your inner strength so you can be healthy, gain confidence, feel great, and be at peace with yourself and food.
Hi and welcome, this is Nicola-beer and I am so happy that you are listening to this show. I hope that you're finding it useful. Do feel free to connect with me in any way that you want to. If you go to my website, nicola-beer.com, I do have lots of different social media links where you can join me on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. And if none of that interests you, that's totally cool. I'm just grateful that you are here, and I'm grateful that through listening to this, more people are going to get the message about emotional eating and, more importantly, how to become free. Today's topic is a little bit different to my other topics. Today is actually my personal experience of how I found talking therapy alone not helpful, and why my programs involve talking and support and actions and working with the subconscious mind, because it's really, really important. So I'm just going to share a little bit about my journey with talking therapy, because it comes up time and time again. I've had lots of people this week in my group program that I'm running sharing with me that they had tried talking to their husband or talking to their friend or talking to a counsellor about their food, and they felt worse after. And that's not what I want for any of you out there. And the problem with that is that if it doesn't work, then we can feel hopeless, and that we're going to have to put up with a eating problem for a long time. And that just isn't true, and I don't want that to happen for you. So let me share about my journey and why talking therapy can fail. When I made the decision to go to counselling, it's important to know that I'd already gone through quite a few quiet moments where I swore to myself that I would stop binge eating, purging or controlling what I ate. I'd made a lot of commitments to myself. The amount of times that I would wake up and say, right, that's it, I am not going to be sick today. Or right, that's it, I am not eating cake today. Or right, that's it, I am not going to eat carbs today. Or I'm not going to be an overeater today. Whatever it was. And then I'd fall off track. I knew that I had to break away from my compulsive eating, emotional dieting and vomiting, but how? The truth was hard to admit. So when I made the decision and told myself, enough is enough, I went ahead, and one time I managed to go ahead and book a counselling session. I searched for help online, and I found that there was a place that I could go to. Surprisingly, in the end, I didn't find it that difficult to do, and I couldn't believe that I hadn't faced it sooner. So with utter determination and focus, I paid thousands of dollars on individual counselling. I was excited and proud of myself for investing in myself, but after a few weeks, in between the sessions, I felt stuck, and like my food and weight thoughts were spiralling out of control. Then all of a sudden, my world came crashing down, and I spiraled into a deep, dark pit of negativity. The counsellor was nice enough, she was a lovely lady, in fact, but there was no help with changing or eating behaviours, or steps to get peace and freedom around food. In fact, the whole experience did not feel good. For one, it took me over 45 minutes to get to the counselling each time. On my first visit, I was told to sit and wait in a hospital-like waiting room. I waited for 15 minutes, was given forms to fill out, and eventually, after 20 minutes of waiting, I met the counsellor. For the next hour, she asked me about my eating and made some notes and some sounds. Smiled, but didn't offer any reassurance or guidance back. I longed to hear, everything's going to be okay. I longed to hear, don't worry, I've helped people to get through what you're going through. I had no idea if she had experience in helping people like me. In fact, I didn't even know what people like me were, because there was nothing out there. There was no information, no support. The hour was soon over, and I had not had any feedback at all. At the end of our time, she stood up and told me to take care and that she would be in touch. I left feeling like I was a real mess and more confused, as I hoped for some real tips to put me in the right direction for stopping binging and purging. She said, "I will send you a letter." A letter? I thought. I checked the post every day for the next 5 days, several times a day. About 8 days later, I received a letter from the post in the clinic. Great, I thought. Hopefully inside there'll be a list of helpful tools and tips that will help me get rid of these food patterns for good. I opened the letter with a buzz of excitement and gratitude that I was facing up to this rather than burying my head in the sand and hoping that things would change by themselves. As I read the letter, my heart sank and confusion filled my head. It said, "Nicola-beer has an undiagnosed eating disorder. The recommendation, counselling sessions." An undiagnosed eating disorder. What did that even mean? I still don't know what that means today. To be told you've got an undiagnosed eating disorder. Well, despite being disappointed, I felt I ought to give the eating disorder counselling sessions a go. I went there and I talked, and talked, and talked. And whilst I did feel lighter after talking sometimes, I also felt more and more like a freak. And my eating habits got worse. In fact, during the time I had the eating disorder counselling, I went through longer periods of starving myself. I was sick more, peaking at 7 or 8 times a day. And I also ate everything in sight when I was in my binges. And when I ran out of food, I would either make more food or buy more food. I made cakes, popcorn, ate boxes of cereal, slices and slices of bread, chocolate, nuts, dates, pizza, and then was sick. And then, so disappointing, because of all the money I was spending and the fact that I was not getting any better at all, I then flipped to not eating anything. I was so unhappy with myself, I felt like I couldn't eat a thing. I banned everything, even tomatoes and carrots, because they were high-calorie vegetables. That's how extreme I took it. The talking, with no solution offered, no feedback, let me feel like I was a hopeless case. That's how I felt. Like a complete mess. I paid thousands of dollars, took time off work, did a long commute to get there and back, and my food behaviours were getting worse. I felt alienated. I felt like a real mess. We did talk about the past and my emotions, but not in a way to clear them, if that makes sense. It was a more regurgitating the past. There was no advice for when triggers happen or what to do, and no support for someone to reach out to when you feel like binging. This is honestly why I say that that form of treatment was not helpful for me. And this is why I believe that it takes more than talking about our past and current food habits to become free. If we only engage the conscious mind, it's difficult to beat. And it's also now why I swear by the method that I've used for myself and many others to stop harming ourselves and instead cultivate a loving, happy and fulfilled life. Freedom from any form of food obsession, food control or punishment or eating disorder requires several methods. Eating disorder counselling and talking therapy has its place, but it's often not enough for real change. It's no wonder that only 10% of people get help with eating issues, and only 10% of people are willing and brave enough to say, yes, I could learn with doing a different way of behaving around food. Because it's hard to admit. It's hard to admit that it's a problem. Just like it's so hard for people to admit an alcohol or drug addiction. It shocked me when I found out that statistic, that only 10% of the people are strong enough to take action and face what lies beneath their eating patterns. And you are one of those strong people, and I admire you, because it took me a long time to admit to myself that I had an issue. And still then I would deny it, or I would downplay it, or I'd say, well, it's no big deal, it doesn't matter. And just your taking action by subscribing to the show, downloading the audios and listening to them is a sign that you know that you deserve to be free. You deserve more than a life change to thinking about food. You deserve your own love. You deserve love to be in your life. You deserve happiness and inner peace. And you can have it. It's all about acknowledging that you do not want to be where you are right now and being open to a new way of living. Barbara was a lady who came to me for marriage counselling in Dubai with her husband. They were working on clearing resentment and actions to bring them closer together. They told me they had an issue with communication. I discovered after delivering my couples communication training that they didn't really have that many communication problems. What they lacked was time to communicate and connect. So one thing I suggested was having meal times together to chat and to share the cooking and cook dishes together and go out and eat together and talk more. And Barbara smiled and said yes, maybe they could try that. Then her husband Dan said that was not possible. He said that Barbara had to prepare all of her own meals exactly in the way that she wanted it. And she would not eat out in any restaurants because she had to control the food that she ate. And that the places were not healthy enough for her. She said, yes, it's true, I won't eat out. You don't know how much salt, oil and crap they put into your food, she said to me. Okay, I said, no problem. What about cooking together and sharing meals? Well, I could do, but I eat the same dish every day, said Barbara. And Dan wouldn't want to eat it once, let alone every day. Barbara had been eating the same food for years to stay ultra slim and fit. She didn't want to give up food control. She didn't want to give up control of her food for anything. It all started when she discovered that her husband had an affair for 2 years with his work colleague. She felt devastated and sickened. She took to controlling her food and became obsessed with staying thin and looking young. We came up with other solutions for them to connect and communicate and left it there. 3 months later, Barbara came to me saying that it was her 50th birthday last week and how she couldn't eat her own birthday cake. She said, Nicola, can you help me? She said, I love what you're doing and I don't want to spend the next 30 or so years of my life eating the same food. Absolutely, I replied. It was a really special moment and we hugged each other, both having tears in our eyes, because I could feel her pain. I could feel her sense of relief that she was getting help for something that she's lived with for 50 years. We began working through the emotions beneath her controlling food behaviour, and together we devised a strategy to support her to break free bit by bit, week by week, taking it slowly. We reduced her exercise instead of 15 to 20 hours a week to 7 hours a week. She ate out once a week and she varied her meals, and I was only an email away, a text message away, every step of her journey. Now she continues to eat healthily, but can enjoy social occasions far more, and be present, not worrying about food like she did before. She told me that for as long as she could remember, she had a problem with food. That literally as a toddler, she was a fussy eater and found attention from eating in that way, which is why she says that she had it for 50 years. Recently, she emailed me to say that she had a great time at her son's graduation and she was able to eat everything and enjoy the party. And now she's planning her father's 80th birthday, where she intends to eat and enjoy the party food and have some birthday cake. Nothing makes me happier than receiving emails like this. If there is anything you want to know after listening to this about how to become free, then do feel free to ask me, because I'm offering a peaceful eating session. If this calls to you, if you feel like, okay, yes, I could really do with changing something with regards to my eating and I'm not sure how to go about it. If you try to change things on your own, if you've had that waking up every day thinking, right, today's going to be different, only to find it's the same, or if you are good for a few months onto a new plan of eating and then you fall back and you feel really angry or really guilty or really down on yourself, then get in touch. During the peaceful eating session, we'll look at what's holding you back, how you can create lasting change,